I used to let the music play more. Amid an uncertain world, we return here to look at the latest and greatest, really the revolution that's going on, interestingly, on the blockchain in digital art. A revolution in the visual arts. Welcome back, everyone. Artist Journal, March 23rd, 2023. My name is Adrian Pocobelli. And once again, we're going to have to sprint through this episode because too many people are saying too many interesting things and too many artists are making too many beautiful works. And more than beautiful, thought-provoking works. So welcome back, everyone. I am fresh from the gym, so I am also running behind schedule. So let's go. Yoain. That's how you pronounce the name, Yoain. Let me know, maybe a few months ago. Yoain here with a stunning work of art. This is a combination of digital and AI. And I'm kind of back to the textures. I mean, there's something kind of, like, when I look at this, I see something kind of weirdly Picasso-esque in a kind of Demoiselle d'Avignon kind of way. One of the most famous provocative works of 20th century art. Like, it just kind of echoes that kind of composition. You know, you have a few figures. The colors are trademark Yoain, and I'm back to these textures here. These wonderful, beautiful textures. Maybe we can make them bigger. With my new mouse, I got the magic mouse. Thanks, Mom. Shout out to Mom. Look at these textures. Although I'm not sure I know how to move around here. So here we go. We can just do that. So anyways, it almost looks like what I associate with Dal-E kind of textures here. We see it with Aile's work. I think she uses Dal-E, and we also see it with Sum. These kind of very texturish kind of works here. Kind of mark making. Who knows what Yoain uses, but that is what it makes me think of. So, I mean, just a stunning work of art, and kind of in that, that special zone here where this hybrid, where AI and digital painting work together. To me, that's one of the kind of promised lands in this space. And we were discussing it on the Spaces yesterday, how I love writing as a way of understanding what AI is and what it does, so-called AI. Because with writing, we see a very simple, straightforward example. So if I put in, as I was saying, I can get the transcript of this show, and then whatever we're discussing, I can take those two paragraphs if there's some topic, say form function, and then, discussing form function shutting down, and then you can feed that into ChatGPT, and it's going to give you an article. But the problem with that, when you look at it, is there's a lot of sentences that you can get rid of. So this is why I think like the editor is a $1 million job. But my point is what you need is a hybrid, because it's not good enough, in my opinion. I can't release, an article like that. I think some people might be tempted because it is almost good enough, but there are too many sentences and there are word changes that can make it better and just kind of more personalized. And so when I see Yoain doing this kind of digital painting with AI, that's kind of the promise. That's kind of why I'm kind of so excited about that area. Because it's sort of like writing, but although I think raw AI art has its place, as we've clearly seen. There is no debate about that. There is some stunning raw AI, and it has its own kind of qualities that we can enjoy. I'm not sure that translates to writing, though. Okay? So anyways, a really cool work by Yoain. It's actually really cheap. I mean, at least for the reserve. 0.69 when you consider it. This was minted yesterday. So very cool for what NFT LA World. Maybe we'll just quickly look at that. And this is curated by Super Chief Gallery, NFT LA World. So here we go. and Another World, and we're going to hear more about curation this episode. And I am not running through this episode so far, am I? So I'm going to have to pick up the pace. This is interesting, isn't it? So look at Yoain's work, which just, it just screams at you off the page. Gossip Goblin. So anyways, pretty interesting stuff to see what's going on out there. A stunning work. Here's just some other stuff. I haven't seen all of Yoain's work, and this was posted. Maybe this is a work in progress. Maybe it's an old work. I'm not sure. But more just kind of interesting work here. So this is a GM from the 21st, so a couple of days ago. And here's a work, I'm not sure if we covered it or not. On February 23rd, Last Dance, we probably did, but I don't quite recall seeing this. So anyways, you almost see a Guernica in the, I kind of wonder if Picasso is involved in these prompts, because there is kind of a Picasso line work that I see here. There's something about this, about Yoain's work, that kind of shouts a little bit Picasso to me, and I almost feel like you see it here. In the top right, it feels like Guernica over there, and you almost see a face calling up, So anyway, it's gorgeous work, and a reserve of 1 ETH, and still available. So very cool. Thank you everybody who came out yesterday. You can tell I need a vacation because I forgot to press record before you set it up. There's a little knob and I was sure I had done it. I had not done it. So unfortunately, that one is lost in time. So you would have had to have been there live, but it was a fascinating episode. What are your favorite art tools? And again, not bad when 59 people are showing up to discuss this. I'm thrilled. And some really interesting things were said. If I could summarize, what I can remember off the top of my head here, it was sort of like, the things that my takeaways were a couple of things. There was Tammy, who with her AI prompts, she prefers Midjourney. She says she writes in the neighborhood of 500 words. So that's like a page and a half double spaced. 500 words for a prompt. So that was news to me. There was a painting app that was mentioned, I think Rebel painting app, which sounded interesting. There's a great pixel art app that I was mentioning that I use on the iPad because we don't have Sprite. I think it's called Pixaki, Pixa, maybe Ki. And so there was that. And there was also just this idea how, it's almost like we've been discussing how the curator and the collector and the artist are kind of all starting to get blended together. But now we're almost seeing with a 500-word AI prompt, and Tammy, I think, was mentioning a friend who's a copywriter who is releasing work. And you're almost seeing the writer, the artist, and you could argue the movie maker also start to blend into one thing. And I was like, this is almost like the term that we hear in ad agencies a lot, the creative. It's almost all just blending together into this, kind of what I've always considered a bit of a corporate word, but I have no problem with it, the creative. So anyways, it was a great discussion. Thank you everybody for attending. And vacation, quick show note, vacation in April 1st here. So in about a week and a half, I will be off to Tuscany, and that will be glorious. And so I'm going to take a week off there. I may still do the Twitter Spaces, though. Let's keep that open. So just a comment from Sabato regarding the Lego, because we're discussing, and shout out to Santiago who put out that hilarious screenshot. I should have brought it up here of me discussing the Lego. That was hilarious. Anyways, so Sabato had this great comment, and it's regarding these kind of sets here, okay? So maybe it's good that we look at this. This is an article I wrote, and I was going to get to this after, but just so you guys know what we're talking about when I read Sabato's comment, this gorgeousness here, these are iconic images from the early 80s. Again, these smiling spacemen here, these smiling astronauts. And we're discussing how Lego had transformed over the years from this really optimistic, kind of fun, really simple and beautiful, aesthetic To here, it's kind of like, here you see the unhappy guys, they're pointing guns at you. It's Star Wars, it's corporate IP. Here's the more unhappy guys. And then you go back and you see the stuff from the 80s, and it's just so beautiful, international, and optimistic. And you see even just the design, the planet behind the Lego. It's masterpieces of design. So that is the context here. Sabato. Oh man, I missed out on that one of one, the homage to these sets that I had made. It's so great. 100% with you on the 80s Lego. I had those spaceship sets as a kid, and they were so much fun to play with. I'm with you that the whole vibe shifted in the mid to late 90s when they started painting more detailed expressions on the Lego person's faces. The underwater exploration sets were the last ones I really enjoyed because after that, more and more Lego sets featured Hollywood movie crossovers. The space Legos were all replaced with Star Wars, and today I think most of the Lego products are tied to some corporate IP, intellectual property. Maybe it's just me, but I think that limits the imagination of a child. I completely agree. It's different when you have to make up the whole backstory for your Lego guy who is stuck in outer space compared to playing with Lego Anakin and Lego Darth Vader, who already have all this lore trademark attached to them. Anyways, cheers. So thank you for the comment, Sabato. That is, you said a lot of what I have been feeling for a while and that I wrote in this essay. And thank you everybody else for the comments here as well. They're all appreciated. This was written I posted this in 2011. I think it was actually written before that. But anyway, so this is an old essay. Why is old Lego so much better than new Lego? I'm going to post this in the description, a link to it, if anybody is interested. Well, you'll see Sabato, if you're watching, or anybody else, is a lot of the same points that Sabato makes, is here. So anyway, I'm glad to hear. And this was just kind of, I didn't really promote this article at all. It's gotten some comments over the years, which is kind of interesting. Like, it hits a nerve, that whole subject matter, which is why I'm discussing it. Popple, thanks for talking about my stuff. Pocobelli, about boutique art, it's like Linktree for Tezos artists and collectors. For the Tezos Artist Collector, I find it a neat tool to quickly build portfolio pages based on creations on Tezos. Surprisingly, not more people are using it, considering most of us here are Tezos-centric. So that is more info, and thank you for the comment, Popple. And Uxine, I feel so honored that all these artists are replying to this show. It's a real honor, and this is hilarious. I was trying to get, I had the Uxine there that was flashing, and I was trying to get both images. Well, Uxine has very nicely provided the other image that was flashing in the image that I had, in the GIF that I was trying to pause. So there it is. It is green. Interesting colors, isn't it? So you see how rough and beautiful Uxine's work is. Really, I just want to say, he makes very smart art, and I love it. A couple of other things. There's too much interesting things being said here, guys, and there's a ton of beautiful art to look at here, too. The first thing that we showed, it was a difficult decision. There's a lot of great art in this episode. Unknown Collector, the last thing I'd ever do is curate to just collect sales. Some people will put sales over actual curation in their judgment. Yeah, so this is kind of like the other side of this Foundation Worlds curated space thing, because there is an incentive for the curator to bring in work that's going to sell, because they get their commission. And so it's almost like, is this curation? I think some purists in the curation world might say, which is why we're looking at definitions. I think it is a kind of curation, but it does definitely impact the nature of the curation, I think, undeniably. I'm curating as part of art, trying to achieve a beautiful flow between artists, artworks, and curation. Randomly putting artists that sell well together is nothing for me but a popularity game. I think Santiago had a nice word for it, which maybe a more neutral word for it, which is showcasing. It's showcasing. If you want to support pure art, check out and share my Foundation World Unknown Self with zero commission, by the way. I didn't know you could do zero commission. Everything stays with the artist, link in my bio. So, interesting thought, I think, because I think Unknown Collector is kind of targeting a kind of attention for lack of a better word, that exists with these curated worlds, which is the whole financial component. And I was bringing this up in a Spaces a week and a half ago, like a week ago, that, curators might think we're just all about money out here. And it's it's not a terrible criticism. It's not an unfounded criticism, as we're going to see here. And Unknown Collector posted, I think he was replying to this tweet that we just looked at, to make it clear, because I felt it wasn't after reading one of my last tweets again. The beauty of decentralized curation with Foundation Worlds is that everyone can do it like they want. Totally agree. They can just chase sales, or they can put their favorite artists together, or they can curate with a theme and as a more whole experience like I prefer to. And I agree. Let freedom reign, and, the market, there's something to be said for the market, and for money. I mean, we shouldn't be purists and think, money shouldn't matter at all. Because I would argue, and I think it's actually self-evident and obvious, that this scene wouldn't be nearly as evolved, we wouldn't have nearly as much art if there wasn't a financial incentive. So, if people weren't making money, I'm not convinced that we're going to have the same output here. So there's something to be said for money, right? So it's kind of a balancing act. I think it's great, and in the history of art, the Medicis were bankers, right? So that has to be kept into mind here. That has to be, we can't be purists about this either. It doesn't matter. Everything is valid. And just because I have other preferences, it doesn't make those other ways less valid. Worlds are open to interpret in your own way. As a world builder, this freedom is built into the concept. And I think beautifully put. And I think if you become someone who puts together brilliant shows with no regard to money, you'll get rewarded for that maybe anyway, because people will go, those are fantastic shows. So big props, that could work. Maybe that's playing the long game, you could argue. Big props to Foundation. They're always innovating, and love how they keep building no matter how the market is acting up. Totally agree. I mean, again, I kind of felt like as a brand, I kind of felt Foundation, and this is totally not it's just a sense. I had a sense that basically Foundation was almost left for dead a year ago. And they kept building, and now, I think they're doing pretty impressive. We'll have to get Igor get some more numbers for us, because they didn't seem to be doing too badly at all. Here's another comment, and I'm going to run through this. Captain Mori: unless certain collectors back your curated world on Foundation, it's extremely hard for the artists you're working with to get bids. So kind of feeling like, it's not an easy game if you're not kind of in the right circles from the sounds of it. There's no reason some worlds are struggling to get recognition, while other worlds catch 15 bids off rip within minutes of launching. Certain curated worlds are catching bids like they're trying to pump a PFP project. I'll come across jaded because I'm really trying to understand. The quality of the art isn't the issue. The artists aren't the issue. So what's the issue? Should we all get burner wallets and self-bid our own pieces to drive hype? Should we throw 50 artists into one curated world that don't fit thematically together to drive FOMO? So kind of pointing out this, again, this financial component, and what does it mean if your artists aren't selling? I'm serious, because this doesn't make sense. Come on, we all see each other's tweets, whether we're engaging with them or not. We all see each other on a daily basis, because this space is extremely small and niche, surprisingly. Considering how much money is involved and how much it costs to get your tools together and make work, this is a surprisingly small scene, and it may not last like this in one way or another, whether they ban crypto or whether millions of people join us here. If quality was truly rewarded in this space, a lot more artists would be getting bids, not just the ones backed by certain collectors. This could all be in my head, and I'm just delusional and salty. Well, my take is, I think the important thing is to not focus so much on the money. The money is great. I think it's great. If I've sold for more money in NFTs in the bull market there than I'd ever sold on my own, selling physical art, spending my entire life as an artist. So money is great, but you can't, I don't think you can worry about it. You kind of have to be about the art, in my opinion. So, I wouldn't worry about it, because I think you just keep doing your thing, is what I would say. I wouldn't worry about it so much. It doesn't need to sell. I mean, that shouldn't be seen. It's a form of kind of feeling legitimized to a certain degree, but it's not like, it shouldn't be your be all and end all, and you should have enough conviction in your whatever you're doing that even if it doesn't sell, that's okay. That's sort of, and finally, there's so many comments on this scene. It's great, though. I mean, this is like a newspaper of the imagination, as we keep saying here. Delta Sauce, prominent AI artist who's done very well. Remember that massive Manifold XYZ sale? We gatekeep ourselves, but by putting these supposed rules down as the right thing to do or the thing we must do. At times, it feels like we're all walking this tightrope, and it can be quite exhausting. Quote, don't put too much art out, slowly raise your floor prices over time, don't get on the bad side of collectors. Feels very artificial, like we're all trying to fit into a box of conformity to what works. Yeah, exactly. I don't exactly. Like I'm kind of back to where we were before, which is you have to focus on your art and frankly on the big picture, because ideally what we're involved in here is much bigger than money. As I was saying in the interview with Die with the Most Likes and Threesomes on their podcast, the reason for me personally, I kind of feel like it's easy to not make it about money is because I feel like what's happening here is perhaps way more important than if I live in some bigger house or something like that. So I would, I think people and collectors, and, collectors are different kinds of people. I think they're going to see, some of them are going to see an authentic person, artist, making their work, and they're going to reward you. Maybe, so, I mean, you can play this game, but to me, this is the short game. If you start worrying about floor prices, and you should be conscious, you should, you are a business person, you are developing an entrepreneurial venture, so you shouldn't ignore these things. You should take care to, people who've bought your work and then don't super undercut it, but that's just managing your business, not trying to conform, because I think it easily turns into, people trying to conform. So anyways, interesting comment, Delta Sauce. And finally, I mean, money. Grant Riven Yoon, I think about this chart from BSY a lot. At the time, I did not factor in that this is a dynamic relationship more so than we passed the PFP phase for good, especially looking at project volumes on Dune for the past 3 months. So anyways, NFT money flow, and what you see is at the top, PFP projects, profile picture projects, CryptoPunk, Sport Ape Yacht Club, etc. And then generative art projects, and Fidenzas, autoglyphs, and then one-of-one art, super rare foundation, async, etc. And it seems, money seems to flow. I mean, it's true. Like I was listening to, I'm editing these older Twitter Spaces that I did in January with Joe Rogan's dad, and what was I going to say about that? I actually lost my train of thought there. Anyways, all to say, let's move on here. The money and the time, it's, let's just continue. It's vacation time, folks. Thank you for the patience, everybody out there. I am editing those Spotify episodes, by the way. Look at this really cool work by Louis Osborne, Sticker Bomb 01. So one of my favorite themes, shout out to Runetoon, traveling through the mediums. Sticker Bomb 01 is ready to go. This piece will be used as a burn token to redeem the individual animated stickers. Holders will be given the option to receive the physical version of the individual stickers they own. So first of all, just a really cool image, and it looks like, interestingly, this digital image is almost composed of like sticker-like images, right? And probably they look like they're taken from Louis Osborne's oeuvre. Let's just look here. The stickers will drop in sets of 4 every following Monday at the same time. They have been grouped into tiers, which will require X amount of burn. So all this burning and stuff, though, the crypto world loves its kind of mechanics, its burn mechanics, and I mean, it's a double-edged sword, this financial side of thing, because it's actually pretty cool and pretty fun. All this, like what, say, Louis Osborne is doing here, and playing with the burn and all this sort of thing, the burn mechanics. So anyways, there are stickers, and here they are. One burn to redeem, and then you'd burn 2 of these, you get the 10th of April. So you have to buy like 6 of these things, as far as I understand, if you want to collect all the stickers. So, and then to mint it is 0.01, so maybe it'll cost you, $100 to mint as many as you need in order to get all your stickers. I wonder how he's going to deliver the stickers, how they'll be sent out. So that'll be interesting. And Jan Lucas Migone, just with some work in progress here. Gonna mute that. So anyways, I thought just most of us will recognize this artist's work, and we see him in the studio here, and it's very cool. Looks like he's working in Photoshop. Interestingly, he is. So we recognize from all those, works of, skeletal figures kind of dancing. And anyway, just really nice to see these works in progress like that. And Rada, there's a ton of show notes here before we go into our paintings, but we're almost done here. I have to, this is really cool. Rada showing how the bull, as far as I understand what's going on here, he's showing how the bull is mirroring the landscape. I mean, I think this is a traditional, this is almost like Renaissance style painting, where where it all kind of, this is how it all works together, the composition, and you get these, I think you see it in, artists like Raphael. So here's Rada, again, high-end pixel art GM. So just very cool to see that. And also, Abdsil, this is a friend of Ezra Eslin, and she was just basically saying he's new, or I don't know, actually, Abdsil is new on Twitter, new account here, and my mom thinks I'm cool. Anyways, we've seen Abdsil's work before, I think on Super Rare. So pretty cool artist, and you gotta like the addition of these kind of Windows 95 type Windows operating system. Here's another one, a little edgier, and just some different portraits, and then cubicles, a little bit of financial charts here, maybe a nod to crypto, and then these windows, so there's a lot going on here. You see the old recycling bin that's pixelated here. A lot going on here with this artist, and here's another one. You're all equal, but some are more equal than others, Metaverse Dream. So just kind of an interesting artist, just kind of, few people were posting because Abdlisol now has a Twitter account, probably because you have to have a Twitter account in this scene, don't you? And also, I thought this was really cool, Rinny Fish flying to Cali. So not sure what the deal is, if this is a print or if she did this physically, but it looks really cool. So here's a physical version, and this is really cool too. I mean, whatever's going on here. So I'm not sure what is going on, if this is physically done or if this is a printout, but it looks great. And it's just really interesting to see physical renditions of digital work. I think the next Twitter Spaces, we're going to discuss this idea of how to get to the physical, and should we make physical work, and that whole discussion, and how does one go about making physical work from digital. It's an interesting conversation. So I'm thinking next Spaces, unless anything pressing comes up. And then here, look at Rosetio's work here. This is at Theater of Digital Art Dubai, and you're going to see Rosetio. There's Rosetio's work here. So, of course, we've seen this on this program. There's the Jeff Koons balloon dog, Rosetio. So look at how incredible that looks. And as I always say, the alchemy of scale. You see how fantastic these works look when you make them big, and you can make them big. So, need a t-shirt like TVs are a crime as far as digital art. And I'm exaggerating. Sometimes you just got to do it to make it work. And also, Roger House, he had this cool, here's a preview of it, kind of like a cool trading card anime manga series here. And it looks like he used AI to make it. Anyways, I just think they're pretty attractive, aren't they? You know, there I spent like 4 or 5 years doing the Peloponnesian War 200 work trading card set. And then here, Roger House, like maybe a lot quicker than me, has put out 40 images. Hi, and they look great. So even the preview thing. So this is doing a collection, kind of like, you know, as Grant Irvin Yoon was talking about the PFPs are kind of bleeding into Foundation a little bit here, though, aren't they? And I find that interesting. I like all this stuff getting mixed together, personally. So very cool. So on to the painting. So Rare released this work. This is part of the Pablo Picasso drop. My new edition, Cerberus, drops. And this was done a couple of days ago, so this already dropped. 100 editions, 50 airdrop to Pablo Picasso pass holders. 50 others can be bought for 0.1. Allow list will run from 9 a.m. to 9 PST. Any not sold will then be open to the public. So anyways, cool work here. Let's take a closer look. And this is one of the things that, you know, I really like about Rare is the PR, the public relations. Like taking the time to put the work up in a way that looks kind of really attractive in a gallery like this, I think is a brilliant idea. When he first did that, I thought it was real. I was like, did he just, you know, but I think it's just how he kind of sells the work, so to speak, as an image, how he presents the work, I should say. So anyways, these all minted out, sold out. Congratulations, 100 at, you know, $180. I guess 50 at $180 and the other to the Pablo Picasso holders. But that is a nice payday. And a really interesting rendition where sometimes Rare shows, you know, the movement a little bit. And here you see the dog's head, the Boston Dynamics dog head, kind of moving back and forth, almost like a real dog. And you even see this great brushwork here. And you have the Where's Rare poster, and there's Pablo Picasso probably here. So just a lot of very smart work here. And this was just put together, I think, in the last week or so. Because remember, he scrapped his previous work that he was struggling with, started the new one, found a great composition, and off he goes. Hilarious work by Bazaya. Greg is, of course, for those that might not know, Greg is a kind of a legendary figure on Twitter, kind of like the ultimate, I don't know, meme guy, and a hilarious Twitter account. And so Bazaya, very wisely, has done a portrait of Greg. And I believe this is on Super Rare, and putting all of Bazaya's kind of classic tropes here, the Gucci belt, the colors are classic Bazaya. Even the hat is hilarious there. So just kind of cool with some interesting hand gestures. Not exactly sure what that means. I'm Bazaya. I like to paint in pink and find streetwear and have fun from Argentina. I'm an artist. I like to mint on NFTs on the blockchain. So I wonder if he's making, I think there's two things going on at work in my sort of interpretation of the description. I think he might be kind of making fun of how Greg talks, or making light of, and maybe just parodying it a little bit. But also, he's also introducing himself, because this could go viral, this kind of thing, a painting of Greg. And so, anyways, this is kind of a smart description, because whoever comes across it will then learn who Bazaya is. So anyways, very cool work. And the myth, with interesting kind of edgy work, as the myth tends to do. What is this called again? Let's get a title on this. Lord of Saturn, one of the masters that fills our beloved myth with knowledge and wisdom. So probably a friend of the myth. Pretty interesting work with a huge head and a gun pointing at us. So interesting. Looks like it was made with Procreate based on the textures that I'm seeing, particularly in here. So this does not look like a Microsoft Paint work, and of course we see the roughness here. Anyway, really cool composition. I have to say, I didn't notice this before, but I love how the reflections in the river, what should be a river or could be a river, how similar they look to the clouds here. So an interesting mirroring, again, kind of reminiscent of what we're seeing with Rada there, kind of like the landscape emulating the bull. Here's a different kind of mirroring. And you will see that in kind of classic Renaissance painting a lot, these kind of mirrorings. In the Raphael's Lamentation, well, we do not have time to go through it, but let's go through that sometime soon. The Deposition, I think is what it's called, which is in the Galleria Borghese in Rome. That's stunning work. There's all sorts of mirrorings going on. So anyways, very cool work from The Myth. Collect for 20 Tezos. And let's continue. Editions 11 of 15. I think 11 are left, so we still got a few left. A very dark work from Rat Cloaksy. It's great to hear from Rat Cloak. GM new drop today. Kind of double meaning on drop there. So a very, very dark work, expertly painted here. So it'll be interesting to see where he posts this. Probably on Super Rare, but who knows. Classic Rat Cloaksy colors here, and even the iconography is not new to Rat Cloaksy. So very dark, beautiful texture on the walls here. Kind of looks like a Microsoft Paint work based on the edginess. See almost the square brush here. So anyways, maybe it's combining more than one software, but kind of looks like, it actually looks like two different kinds of software. Who knows? Anyways, new work from Rat Cloak. Wasteman Goldminovich. We're going to have to run through the rest of this episode. American Ruse, Bad Optics. So just an interesting painting here. Kind of a different, I don't want to say different style, but kind of a somewhat different style. I think he's already worked with digital painting here before. Anyways, kind of it's different from the Failed Artist series. Let's put it that way. It's the same artist, but you can see the McDonald's there. Maybe joins everything together. They all share McDonald's together. And look at Stolka. I'm a big fan of Stolka, and Cosmic Girls The Beginning is now live. Great to see her have work again. This is on Nifty Gateway, so that's cool. And anyway, just a really interesting artist here with this kind of almost Ring Around the Rosie, kind of almost a witchcraft kind of feel to it, perhaps. And Schoolgirls at Night, and this strange figure with the sword and the pink skin and the spiders. On and on you can go. Pink stars. Amazing. Mikey Wilson, Rustic Digital Art, the long-awaited collaboration, and it did not disappoint here with the mayhem, and it looks pretty cool, doesn't it? It's like a video game, as we can see at the start, almost like Burst Sectors, You Win, kind of has that feel to it. Mikey times Rustic 2023, a reference maybe to Mario. And we have these crop Marios and someone who looks like they're riding a horse made out of crop Marios. And then so this irrationality that we know and love from Rustic Digital Art continues here. And then a reference to Zelda, I think that is. And then a highway. Anyways, and there's the clouds and the Mario boxes and everything. Just an interesting work here. Let's see if anything has happened yet with this. Just offers coming in. The offers have begun. Very interesting work, isn't it? Ram by Ed Marola. So continuing these interesting colors. And what I found really interesting about this is it almost reminds me of a photo. I've been looking at pictures of the Mona Lisa, which I've been just kind of combining together for the, what is that, composite series. But anyways, when I was looking at these different renditions of the Mona Lisa, one of the things you notice is of these photos of oil paintings is this almost looks like reminiscent of the reflections you'll see oftentimes, the light. And that's what that reminds me of. So this is called Ram. And yeah, I'd say it's almost abstract here because it's not quite clear if this is a ram here and there's maybe a fire. Really, or is this the ram here with the horns? Hard to say, but there's something kind of special about it. 90 Tezos, 1 of 1. On Object, and this was interesting too. So by Ed Marola as well, and just interesting, adding dithering to the mix here. So a more dithered piece, but again, these great textures and classic, the classic purple of Ed Marola here returns. And think about You in My Dream. So another 1 of 1 for 90 Tezos. And then you see this image back here, and this is what I want to show you here. Techniques. This is really interesting. The central image is AI generated. So this image here. imported into Procreate. The rest of it is done in Procreate, finishing and upscale in Aseprite. So going through a few different techniques here and apps, which I'm a huge fan of. Again, that episode with Joe Rogan's dad that I was just telling you about on Spotify, Sky Goodman, maybe this is what I was going to mention. Sky Goodman discusses their process in that episode, and it's all, how exporting from app to app to app, it really just kind of creates a work that feels very Sky Goodman, not, okay, here's your Procreate work, here's your, there's the Aseprite artist. When you start exporting through to everything, that's a Ed Marola work. That's a Sky Goodman work. So anyways, interesting. Thanks for sharing, Ed. Super interesting. Yuri J., The Bedspread. I like how this kind of has a bit of a French impressionist sort of feel to it in terms of the title and the subject matter. It's almost something like Edouard Manet would do or something. So not this time. This is Yuri J., and there is what seems to be the bedspread with this almost couch bed and all of this experimentation here. This is on Super Rare, and it's not expensive. It's 0.2 ETH, $350. The bedspread. So very cool new work from Yuri J., just minted on the 21st. Very nice. Santiago with a couple of scientific speculative works, fake science as he's calling it, possible cells, text to image, and GIMP. So here is, and I think text to image is Santiago's way of saying AI, because I don't think he necessarily agrees with this idea of calling it AI. So again, we're seeing like kind of anatomical and scientific biological imagery, and just kind of colored and interestingly depicted here. Here's another one, possible cell number 2. So I just kind of like the speculative scientific aspect. I like bringing science and the imagery, the iconography of science into the work. It kind of gives it even if it's kind of fake science, it gives it a kind of relevance of sorts. So very interesting idea for a series. Possible cell number 2, and Flora Marquez with a super cool monster here. 6 eyes and 4 arms, and hard to say how many legs. 4 legs and some bones here, and eating these apples that have been personified here. Something has to be offered to the monster of the seasonal change. So maybe making reference, done on the 21st, making reference to the first day of spring there. Actually, that was the 20th. And a hilarious kind of play on the wave. Hakusai's wave. Good meat by Die With The Most Likes, turning it into ground beef. Probably his favorite image or subject matter. And GloomTube, Solutions for a Changing World. So interestingly, so here's this financial guy pointing way down at us, and there is the sun in this kind of polluted sky here, and money raining down. So money is the subject of the hour here. Again, playing with these textures here, which is interesting. And this guy in a suit and everything. Solutions for a Changing World, 1,000 Tezos. Is that GloomTube's price? It very well may be. It is. So GloomTube raising the prices on the 1 of 1 here. Buy now, still available. Daniel W., Pink on Blue. So starting, and you see like almost like these physical textures here, but I think it's digitally rendered, digitally created, and there's a cigarette. So anyways, playing with a interesting, zooming up close. And you see it here in this other work here too, blue on pink and pink on blue. So interesting little series here. It will be interesting to see if he continues. And then Michael Micasso with a new landscape, pixel art landscape with some beautiful colors. I particularly love the pink on the red here. That is gorgeous in the reflection here. Is there anything? I'm putting my best shot on discipline and natural growth daily with occasional visits to my roots. Very nice. And look at this. Holographic Factory by Gogolitis, edition of 20. So a pretty wild work, and the color again is fascinating here. And you're starting to see this pixel art factory trope start to break down a little bit and turn into these bricks here and everything. So just super interesting experimentation from Gogolitis. Love the frame too. So very interesting. And I think this has something to do, you see all these triangles here? I think he mentioned in a tweet that this has something to do with, I believe, a fractal. So interesting. Now look at Sabato. I mean, we could have started with so many of these images, right? So Sabato's noun, I think we already looked at the noun, but it went on auction. I'm not sure if we looked at it or if, because it might have just went on auction. Either way, I think we did look at it. I'm sure we did, actually. So this went for, there's a big auction war for it. These two accounts went basically from 210 all the way up to 609. So when you have a one of one, it's kind of really dramatic to watch that stuff. And look at how the price is being raised here. 450, 469, 499. And then this account's like, screw it, 555. And then it's like, this guy's not, or this person is not letting it go. And 609, it would have been interesting to see how far that would have gone had the other bidder continued. So part of the Tez Nouns series, super interesting. Again, so many works that you could start with in this program. La Reine des Bijoux, I believe the Queen of Jewels would be the translation there. Beware of it, what you're offered, for everything's ever changing. The world is full of secrets, and the unknown is always ranging. So I thought this was a gorgeous work by Popple here, part of this monster series, and you could almost see like this like almost severed spinal cord here of this monster. Again, just kind of, magical, and I don't know if totemic's the right word, but just kind of, just kind of gorgeous, magical stuff from Popple. 900 by 900 pixels, edition of 1. I think it sold out right away. Yeah, 250 Tezos sold in 3 minutes. So someone made the offer and Popple accepted. Bijou made an offer and it was accepted. Okay, so that's what happened. Nice one of one. And here, I think, let me see if we can, I just wanted to go up close on this just so we can see what's going on here. And these beautiful colors here. So just beautiful kind of shimmering movement here. And this big crown, this mysterious queen. So pretty cool, if you ask me. Great color. Françoise Gamma, continuing the super interesting experimentation. Lat Creux, so here's the walking person. Okay, it's amazing, isn't it incredible how much work comes out? Since when I do the spaces on the Wednesday, that gives us 48 hours, almost 72, and it's there's so much work. Here's another one by Françoise Gamma, continuing the exploration of the person walking. Lat Creux 02, very interesting. And here's another one, Branche Gras. Because it's what works are you going to leave out? So here's a beautiful pixel artwork of what seems like a plant, a branch maybe. So very interesting. Tom Bombadil, Radiation. So a new one from Tom Bombadil. Looks like a guy at a gas station here on his motorbike, and some bit of a sci-fi feeling. Again, these clouds are gorgeous. These four to the floor dithering here, and even back to that kind of pink and purple, that kind of red and pink and purple. Very nice work. And by Tom Bombadil. And Pixology, Jungle Beat. So back on the scene here, and just kind of a interesting work here. Interesting frame, interesting subject with the drumming, interesting treatment. So I think this is made on Aspirite. So 700 by 700. Original is 350 by 350. So multiplied by 2. Rada with a tribute to Xcopy, and I brought up the Xcopy here. Let me actually bring that up first. So here is the original, all-time high in the city, and it seems to be a reference to someone crossing the river Styx or something. This is, what is the name of the guy? It's not Cerberus. Cerberus is the dog, but then there's a name for this guy. We'll look it up. And who, crossing the river Styx. So this is a very famous Xcopy work with what looks like a businessman on it. All-time high. Maybe a jab at the financial side of things, this financial guy, perhaps. 2018. So pretty interesting. And let's actually go super up close, then we'll go back to Rata. So just so you can see what's going on, we did this last time. You see this is slightly lower resolution than the newer X copies. I mean, this is from 2018, so you can't really blame them. So anyway, just interesting to look at this up close. So let's look at Rata's now. So here's Rata's pixel art version, and the business person here is a rat. So following his whole, theme here with the rat. So anyway, super cool, nice fitting tribute. Let's see what happened to it. Just minted and nothing happened. No offers, no listing. Gift, death, rat, X copy, debt. So very interesting. LB, as we run through the rest of this episode here, who wants flowers when you're dead? I thought this kind of fit well after the Crossing the River Styx, what I think that is, Crossing the River Styx. So anyways, just kind of a cool glitch work with a skeleton in it by LB, edition of 20. And a couple sold here. I guess not many are available, sort of holding a lot too in his account there. Ellie Lowe with a super cool work here. Very unpredictable, kind of reminds me of KHC in the unpredictableness. Kind of upbeat. And the circle is completed there from Ellie Lowe. 9 Tezos. Is that primary? Let's look quickly. Then we got to run through this episode here. No, 450 on primary, but again, prices are higher than before. And look at this, another beautiful, beautiful work here. This time from Spagels Maskinen. And what do you call this? Bank run? Bank holiday. So very topical, right? And here you have a bank underwater. Someone was saying on Twitter, maybe it should be bank liquidity. So anyway, pretty great. Bank holiday, I love it. So very cool work on Foundation. 0.75 ETH, Spagel 1 of 1. And here you just released this as well, which is just kind of cool. I don't know what to cut out of this show, like, how can you cut this out, So there's just too much greatness here. So it shows are turning into an hour. Look at this. I mean, okay, so this, Sabato retweeted this. This is from a show called Superstar, and the artist is Score. And look at this wild work here. I'll try and stay, here. Let's try, yeah, my computer is protesting on everything, but you get the picture here. So really interesting, cool work. Here you go. Wow, right? The ASCII text here, it just looks great. So anyways, there's that. Now, let's see if, yeah. So I think the artist mentioned that she's a VJ, a video DJ, so that might explain. I'm actually surprised there aren't more video DJs actually in this minting work, because you see how powerful the technology is. I'm sure a lot of the glitch artists are using similar mixers, but you see how great this looks. This is an older work, same artist, Score, S-K-O-H-R, last sold for 0.3, really nice use of ASCII text. This is by Xmortal, sold for 0.4769, so nice price. And a couple of people were trying to bid at one bid for 0.4269 and the other one for 0.47. So a nice payday for Xmortal there. That is totally awesome. So anyways, this is on Foundation, Luxus Flus. And here's Xmortal, part of Xmortal's studio here. So just some crazy retro video tools, I guess. Can it video art? We're going to find out. So anyway, that is part of the secret sauce for Xmortal. Atso. Atso is back with the furniture. This time, I think it's for outdoor furniture for your modern cookout. So now that spring's here. So another beautiful piece here. And future patio chair. I love this piece. I think I bought this. Yeah, I just love this piece. I love these kind of chairs. I used to almost had a collection of these kind of lawn chairs. There is an art. This is a really particularly nice one, I would say. So I had to pick that up. So anyways, really cool. Sky Goodman, Corral, and Shell Highs, AI and Glitch Kicks. So just a really, really nice piece from Sky Goodman. I love the color. The color is beautiful. I like to just see how this series continues to get more evolved and complicated and frankly beautiful. Great work. Look at Venta. I mean, there are so many works that you could have started this show with. This is one of them. Spagel's Mesquina. I mean, on and on. Popple, Gogolitis. On and on you could go. And here's just a beautiful AI work. The Circle of Life, Venta times AI, edition of 10. It was on primary, I think, for 6, and now it's 18. So just a really, really nice work there. And this is Don't Be So Vasya, I believe. Good morning, friends. I want to show you a new work from the Nocebo collection. God Hates a Coward. It's not minted yet, but it will be soon. So anyways, they all kind of shows well together in Graphica.png. Anyways, big shout out to Don't Be So Vasya, who has really helped this program with some tweets there. Much appreciated. Very cool work. Love to see it get minted. Not a Number. Shout out to Not a Number 2. Number 9 Dreamscape. So these are prompts that are made with using ChatGPT, and then that's put into, I don't know if it's Stable Diffusion, an AI tool. So using a lot of AI, different AI tools. Jess Thuja, who we haven't seen for a while, I think did the frogs way back when, Nasturtium Dreams. I thought this was just a really nice looking work. As far as I remember with Just Thuja, it uses AI, but it uses, as far as I remember, a lot of different things. So, but here she says AI art, so it's hard to tell. Maybe this is just raw AI. Hard to say. You might remember some of these works here. So, Just Thuja, and here's another one, Dreaming Digitally, as we wrap up here. Really interesting looking work, isn't it? So just beautiful AI work, kind of a AI drawing, Pondside Symphony, multi-chain project with a unique collection across each chain. Tezos, ETH, and Sol. So that is different. And Tooks with some new work too. Let's just see if there's volume. And I don't believe so. So really interesting, nice work from Tooks. And that is a taste for you. Go to Tooks' site on Object, page on Object, and then finally, strange thing with some shoes here, with some beautiful shoes, and AI concept, trainer sneakers inspired by the Renaissance. Which pair would you buy? So anyways, really cool AI work from Strange Thing as usual. Look at that. Really, really, really cool. Sooner or later, maybe it's already happened, Strange Thing is going to break through and walk with a very famous album, Moby's Play, that I think most of us would recognize here, and gets the walk treatment here. So very cool. Edition of 1, I think it sold for like 2 Tezos in an auction. So Blue 7 gets a good deal there. And finally, Nugget Brain. And I think have we seen that one? We looked at this one actually. But so this is Nugget Brain in Hong Kong. So let's just look, beautiful setup, and look at this awesome painting. I don't think we did look at that one. Just race cars, and here it is, the installation and everything. So just really cool from Nugget Brain. And that finally is your show, everyone. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, take care.